Welcome back to In Business. Money manager Dan Fuss of Loomis Sayles beat 95% of the competition last year. So when he recently sold all of his Treasury holdings, fearing interest rates would rise, the street definitely took notice. Fuss is with us now, and he joins us this morning. Dan, I want to ask you, there seemingly are a whole lot of people willing to buy government debt these days, even at a pretty low rate for themselves. Do you think that the market's overbought?
Oh yeah, for understandable reasons. I mean, you pick up the paper, and if I miss the paper, I just rely on you to bring me up to date as to why we have the demand. But that's what happens when you get bubbles in markets. Now, reasonable people can certainly disagree. I've heard from a number of people, but I think it's a bubble in U.S. Treasury.
Well, you mentioned reasonable people. BlackRock's buying U.S. government debt. PIMCO recently, Bill Gross came out and said, and we'll bring up the quote actually now. He said it here to my colleague Tom Keene. The world's full of dirty shirts in terms of excessive debt. The U.S. is one of those countries. It still remains the reserve currency and the flight to quality haven. So the U.S. is the least dirty shirt. Why isn't that good enough for you, Dan?
Oh, geez. Well, I don't like dirty shirts to begin with. And Rosemary would give me the dickens if I wore one. So when it comes to investing money, I do like U.S. Treasuries better than the Treasuries of the other three reserve currencies. Other parts of the world, once you're international, there are a number of currencies I like better and some of the bond markets. So I go there. But in the U.S., in U.S. dollars, corporates, in my mind, particularly, and this sounds outrageous, but particularly the lower grade area is really cheap. The market is so thin that by being a buyer when there's a thin market, you can get some reasonable values now. It's not the fall of '08, but it is a very reasonable time to buy.